The 1940s were a decade of global conflict and political transformation. Many North Carolinians served overseas during World War II. During this time, African Americans faced structural racism and Japanese Americans were locked in internment camps. War was not an abstract idea in Buncombe County. The U.S. military operated a range of facilities across the county, including an internment camp in Montreat. The war came home in other ways to Black Mountain College. A refugee from the war in Europe, Joseph Albers, was one of the most influential forces at the college. Once a leader of the Bauhaus art movement in Germany, Albers taught at Black Mountain for 16 years. A legendary teacher, he is often credited with revolutionizing the way art is taught in America.
I mean, I would think at the beginning you see it with Joseph Albers shifting his pedagogical focus from what he had been working on at Bauhaus, which was industrial materials, to looking at what materials surrounded Black Mountain College. And so you see in his art from that time a shift from glass and other sorts of metal urban materials to working with the colors and the kind of sensations of Western North Carolina, which then fed into his classic book on color. And by the time he left Black Mountain, that book was circulating through art schools in the United States. And so you see a shift for him from a Western European, distinctly modernist sensibility to one which is drawing from a lot of different resources and rethinking what it means to teach art.
Albers' color theory involved a lot of close looking at colors and the relationship of colors. And color is always changing, or as he said, color always deceives. It's an area-related phenomena. It depends on what color light's falling on it, what the other colors around it are. Color theory really just means paying attention to the experience of your own eyes.
Albers was one of those great influential teachers, a legendary teacher, and I feel like it really became an art school under Albers. He trained so many famous artists while he was there. It's during his tenure too that the summer programs begin, that the happening occurs at the Lake Eden campus. Albers is at both campuses. He's at the Blue Ridge Assembly, and then he ends up at Lake Eden.
In 1941, the college moved from the Blue Ridge Assembly to the Lake Eden campus. At Lake Eden, faculty and students worked together to construct the studies building, which contained classrooms and living spaces. This move firmly established Black Mountain College as an institution. Other developments during the 1940s included the establishment of the Summer Institutes, where designer Buckminster Fuller constructed his first geodesic dome, and composer John Cage began his groundbreaking collaboration with dancer Merce Cunningham. During this time, Black Mountain College also made its first efforts toward racial integration.
The other factor I think that set BMC apart was its early desire to integrate. In 1944, well before Brown versus Board of Education, Black Mountain College invited the first African American student to join its summer roster for the 1944 Summer Music Institute, and her name was Alma Stone.
In my experience, deciding to go to Black Mountain was not necessarily brave or unusual. I didn't have any idea there was any danger in it. 10, 15 years later, it would have been another story. But it was not at that particular time.
So she was one of its greatest spokespeople. And she was going to be the one to open, pry open those doors so that more African Americans could come, but there was never an appreciable, that never happened the way they wanted it to.
The real impact of Black Mountain College in art is the people who worked there, I think. Well, it's true that the training methods were at the time revolutionary. I think the legacy of the people that Albers trained there, Cy Twombly, Robert Rauschenberg, the presence of John Cage there, the summer session work there was huge, and the interdisciplinarity of those projects there informed most of the 60s, 70s, and even now.
I would say that of the dance people, or the movers, we'll say, at Black Mountain College, Merce Cunningham has had the most influence. I teach about Merce Cunningham every year. I use his philosophy of chance procedures with students to create new work, and really think that as far as the avant-garde movement goes, and elements of performance art and elements of modern dance, Merce Cunningham and John Cage, his collaborator, really helped to set the tone for a lot of that work in the mid-century.
The 1940s were the decade that cemented the legacy of Black Mountain College as a leader in the art world. Joseph Albers had a large part in shaping that reputation, but other elements of the college, such as the student work program and support for racial integration, are important yet often overlooked parts of Black Mountain College's legacy.